Assalamualaikum MGT361. My name is Muhammad Narisham bin Akun from BA111 and my student number is 2019-293-122.
Hi, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Muhammad Asri bin Mansur. My AG student number is 2019-640736.
Hi, my name is Muhammad Hakim bin Rovizan. I'm from BA111.
My student ID is 2019 44808.
Hi, Assalamualaikum. My name is Komarul Hamizan bin Komari. I'm from BA111. My matrix number 2019219332.
Hi and Assalamualaikum. My name is Fatin Hanani binti Nordin.
Talk about the profile of the country. New Zealand is a country with a wide range of attraction. In the southern Alps, there is an active volcano, beautiful caverns, deep glacial lakes, verdant valleys, enchanting fjords, long sandy beaches, and majestic snowy peaks. All of New Zealand's territory or Te Moana can be located on the South Island. All of these characteristics contribute to New Zealand's beauty. New Zealand is also home to a vast assortment of plants and animal species, many of which have survived the country's long isolation. The country is known for its stunning scenery and natural beauty, which has attracted filmmakers from all over the world. The local time is calculated using UTC plus 12 hours, while DST is observed from October to March, which is 13 hours. For example, we can draw a conclusion based on the current time, which is in 29 January in 2022, which is a Saturday, is for New Zealand 12 in 21:11 p.m., whereas while the Malaysian is same date but only 60:11 p.m. The country's calling code is +64 and Wellington is their capital city with a population of 210,400 people. Is the most well-known city in the country. New Zealand government is a parliamentary democracy with no one document constituting the country's constitution. They were declared a dominion and granted independence in 1907. The Cook Islands, Niue and Tokelau are all ruled by Queen Elizabeth II. The New Zealand dollar or NZD is the name of their currency. The ISO country code for New Zealand is NZ or NZL, which is used by foreigners to identify the country. Next is about demographic factor. Replacement level fertility is the average number of children per moment required for each generation to completely replace itself without requiring foreign immigration. Replacement level fertility is represented by a total fertility rate, which is TFR, of 2.1. If the value falls below 2.1, the native population will decline. The total fertility rate with live birth per woman in 2020 will be 1.9. In 1960, a figure of 4.1 FTR was recorded, which was a relatively high figure. This shows how the value of FTR declined rapidly after 1960, in contrast to the previous year. When it reaches the year 1990, it shows a slight growth and it continues to increase until the year 2010, when it exceeds the year 2005. Suddenly, in 2020, the value of FTR has decreased to 1.9 FTR. Although in 2015 the value of FTR was 2.0. It is less than 0.1, indicating a 5% reduction in several elements that influence the FTR value. The value of life expectancy in New Zealand for two sexes, female and male, from 1995 to 2020, females have an average life expectancy of 84.4 years, while males have an average life expectancy of 81.2 years. As a result, both sexes have an average life expectancy of 82.8 years. However, life expectancy is expected to rise by 1% every 5 years by 2020, indicating that the average age of people living in New Zealand is increasing by 1% every 5 years. According to observation, life expectancy is quite encouraging, as most countries have life expectancies of less than 75 years.
The economy of New Zealand is highly developed free market economy. It is the 52nd largest national economy in the world when measured by nominal gross domestic product, and the 63rd largest in the world when measured by purchasing power parity. New Zealand has a large GDP for its population of 5 million, and resources of revenue are spread throughout the large island nation. The country has one of the most globalized economies and depends greatly on international trade, mainly with Australia, Canada, China, the European Union, Japan, Singapore, South Korea, and the United States. New Zealand's 1983 closer economic relations agreement with Australia means that the economy aligns closely with Australia. For many years, New Zealand's economy was built on a narrow range of agricultural products, such as wool, meat, and dairy. These products became New Zealand's staple and most valuable exports, underpinning the success of the economy from the 1850s until the 1970s. For example, from 1922 to the late 1930s, the dairy export quota was usually around 35% of New Zealand's total exports, and in some years made up almost 45%. Due to the high demand for these primary products manifested by the New Zealand wool boom of 1951, New Zealand had one of the highest standards of living in the world for 70 years. New Zealand's diverse economy has a sizable service sector, accounting for 63% of all GDP activity as of 2013. Large-scale manufacturing industries include aluminium production, food processing, metal fabrication, wood and paper products, mining, manufacturing, electricity, gas, water, and waste services accounted for 16.5% of GDP as of 2013. The primary sector continues to dominate New Zealand's exports, despite accounting for only 6.5% of GDP as of 2013. New Zealand welcomes and encourages foreign investment, which is overseen by the Overseas Investment Office. In 2014, foreign direct investment totaled New Zealand dollar of 107.69 billion. From 1989, foreign investment increased from $9.7 billion to 101.4 billion in 2013, an increase over 1,000% between 1989 and 2007. Foreign ownership of the New Zealand market went from 19% to 41%, but has since dropped back to 33%. In 2007, around 7% of all New Zealand agricultural productive land was foreign-owned. In 2011, economist Bill Rosenberg said that the figure is closer to 9% if foreign ownership of forestry is included. In March of 2013, the financial sector, which includes the four big Australian-owned banks, was worth $39.3 billion, according for the largest portion of the $101.4 billion foreign ownership of New Zealand companies.
New Zealand was the world number 51 economy in terms of gross domestic product, number 55 in total export, the number 58 in total import, and the number 1 in terms of gross domestic product per capita, and the number 50 most complicated economy in 2019. There are 5 major export trading partners such as China, 10.8 billion or 29% of New Zealand total export. The second is Australia, 4.8 billion, which is 12.7%. The United States, 3.8 billion, which is 10.3%. Japan is 2.3 billion or 6.1%. And the last one is Republic of Korea, 1.1 billion, which is 3%. A positive trade balance indicates a surplus, whereas a negative value indicates a deficit. The trade deficit in New Zealand is expected to be around $1.71 billion in 2020 because of increasing import value, particularly for vehicles, and the large deficit in New Zealand continuing a pattern that began a few months ago. They have 9 interesting cultures in the New Zealand. First, New Zealand and its culture are unique in the globe due to its location in the Pacific South, and they love the outdoor sport and the arts. They value honesty and directness with a sense of humor, so be social and direct in your interaction with them. The third is New Zealand is known for producing high quality products. They have many companies use the finest method of production to give their product or service a boutique-like look to the customer. People are less likely to invest in business that lack actual value of quality. Business culture places a high priority on dependability. When promise is broken or business is lost, it is frequently recalled. Furthermore, in the New Zealand, absenteeism is not accepted. Employee and college reliability are anticipated. For the fifth, handshake are used to commence greeting. In New Zealand, believe that this is a sufficient physical contact at work. Their personal space reflect the British ancestry. Hugs and cheek kiss are rare in the workplace, despite the fact that we live in the multicultural culture. If you give one wish doesn't look to be a brief, give provide the business partner will they are awaiting a judgment. For example, might appear to be inappropriate. On the other hand, gift given at the ceiling of the deal or closure of negotiation are seen as congratulations. In New Zealand, business attire is formal. Men business clothing consists of black or blue suit or white shirt and tie. For the woman is white blouse with a skirt or trouser suit. Business communication in New Zealand are although English in the official language. Kiwis have a little accent and they speak in informal manner. For the last one, if you have any question about something expressed, don't hesitate to ask the New Zealand when conversing. It is polite to keep eye contact and it is also the sake of personal space. As a result, New Zealand places a high importance on honesty, therefore, it is wise to be straightforward and direct a polite manner.
For the requirement strategies, we will prioritizing the candidates who have experience. Since we are doing selection among the current employees from the organization itself, so the knowledge about the organization goals should not be a problem because they already know what is demand from by the firm. This also will lead to reducing costs for training the development of the new employees. But since we want to explore for a new market, we need someone who have experience up to 5 years because it is not an easy task for someone new to manage a new branch in the new market. One of the criteria we require is the approval of certificate of education at both the school or university levels. Subject approval is significant for job selection since it is necessary for obtaining a job as well as a future career. The approval of a certificate of education is also the first step in obtaining a ticket for the job sub. Secondly, before they come into the organization, their experience must be reviewed. Most people nowadays have a degrees and credentials but not work experience. Nowadays, most organizations hire people based on their work experience. Most employment today refer to education as well as required qualification, which are referred to as ideal or advantage. The first condition we put to find the most suitable candidates for the position is his or her experience in the organization. We are looking for someone inside the organization itself who have worked with us for 5 years, because during this period times they should have known more about the managerial things. So by the listed this as one of the requirements, we can reduce the cost of training and develop and focusing more on the new market. Other than that, we also list some skill and ability that necessary to do the job, such as technical, functional, and managerial. This kind of attributes is important since we want to ensure the future or selected candidates for the job will know exactly what he or she want to do to assist the productivity. In addition to the resume screening stage or the interview process, recruiters are looking for certain attributes. It is critical for job searchers who want to be one step ahead of the competition to understand the abilities most sought after by companies. Nowadays, we recognize that it is simple to teach clever people to do certain responsibility. Furthermore, they have a set of ability that no longer need to be taught, such as critical thinking, soft skill, and certain fundamental competence in areas of specialty. Leadership and management skill are the attributes of the competence that we want. Finally, we look at the some skill and abilities necessary to work in foreign location, such as adaptability, location-specific skill, and personal characteristic. This is one of the crucial part in order to ensure the percentage of succeeding in an international job assignment. Because if we want to explore a new market, especially outside the country we are currently operating, we need someone with all of these attributes to help us managing the branch of the new market. Last but not least, the candidate should have a good work ethic. We are continuously looking for professionals that are passionate about what they do and they are dedicated to a certain assignment. A healthy work ethic entails more than merely finishing a task or finding a solution to a problem. Arriving on time, being eager to complete the task, and accepting responsibility for any act or mistake are all indicators of a good commitment on the part of an employee.
Assalamualaikum and salam UiTM di hatiku. My name is Muhammad Narisham and I will talk about two things, which is how to select the final candidates and how to deal with the expatriation and repatriation issue before selecting the final candidates. The first thing is to identifying if the candidates possess all the criteria required. This is to ensure that the selected manager fits the position. Since we choose the manager from inside the organization, it can give benefits to the company because the selected manager have knowledge about the goals of the company. The second thing we need to consider is the managerial competence. By looking at their previous record, we will know which candidates to select because we need someone who have managerial competence to conduct the assignment in the new market. Last but not least, the ability to adapt with the culture of the new market also is another thing to look for. This is because it is a very crucial part since a new market is equal to a new challenge, so the adaptability will play an important role in selecting a manager. Next, we move to how to deal with the expatriation and repatriation issue before selecting the final candidates. The first issue is culture shock, which is a common issue for any expatriate who live outside of their country. To deal with this issue, the company need to do a deeper research about the new market, especially its culture and legal forces. This is because those two things are very crucial for the selected manager to ensure that he or she won't facing culture shock. The second one is homesick. Just like culture shock, this is a common issue as well. Even though it will last only for a short time frame, but the company need to deal with it before sending the selected manager to the new market. Among the solutions is providing a fun program or event to keep them busy, since this is the most effective way to deal with homesick. Last but not least, repatriation issue, just like reverse culture shock, should be considered as an issue that will be faced by the expatriate when they came back to the origin country. Among the solutions for this issue is to have a proper plan on how to keep them up to date with the changes that happen in the origin country, so they know what really happened there.